did you see the Shopify like sphere thing in Vegas?
Yeah, that was really cool. That was
Yeah.
very, very cool. Because, like, I remember seeing the sphere thing, I don't know, maybe a few weeks ago for the first time or
Mhm.
something, and
Yeah.
thinking, like, oh, that's a cool advertising medium. But it
Mhm.
didn't occur to me. It's like, it's perfect for the Black Friday Globe. I mean, it's
It's,
like
it's
the,
amazing.
yeah, it's like the best possible advertising medium ad fit that there
Yeah.
could be, you know?
Yeah.
I thought that
It's
was pretty
funny
sweet.
because I saw the sphere like a year ago when they were kind of constructing it, and it like looked glitchy and it just looks weird. It looked
Oh, really?
weird from the outside, and I assumed that it was really going to be like about the experiences inside. You know, they're doing concerts and movies
Right.
and stuff like that, which is cool. But I never imagined that it would be like used for like a billboard, basically like a spherical billboard, which is
Yeah.
it's been cool to see like what some brands have done to use that space, like like in a way that you wouldn't do just like on a flat billboard. And obviously with the globe, that I think that was like the best use case I've seen for it yet.
Totally. Yeah. No, that was really cool. I had a tweet I was going to tweet and I didn't tweet it where I was going to say that that for for
No
for
wonder.
April for April Fools they should do a flat Earth version
That's good.
of the thing. I keep getting flat Earth stuff in my TikTok. It
Really?
shows up in my TikTok, and then like you'll sit there watching these things. You know, it'll be like this like detailed analysis of something, and I'm like, huh,
That's funny.
it's so
And
weird.
the more you watch it, the more TikTok probably thinks you're interested and will suggest more.
Yeah, dude, it's getting bad. It's getting really bad.
Getting to the point where
But
it's like, oh, maybe they have a point. Maybe I
I
should look
know,
into this flat
dude.
Earth thing more.
I know, man. I know. It's weird. Super weird. Um.
It
So
was
yeah, did you
I
have a huge? Oh, sorry.
no, I was gonna say I actually had a layover in Vegas on that Monday, and I saw it like when we were landing, but it was so quick, and I was like, man, I almost like left the airport to be like, I just need to get a picture with this thing, but
Hmm.
but I was in the lounge enjoying myself, and I was like, nah, no, like that's too much work to go through security.
Yeah, totally, totally. Did you have a huge? Did your clients have a huge Black Friday,
It was very
Cyber Monday?
good. Yeah. I think it really like reflected, what Shopify was saying in general, where sales were up. I think people are a little more optimistic this year. I think last year they were still kind of scared from the merchant side and the consumer side, where it's like, oh, are we going to go into a recession? Is the economy kind of going to fall off a cliff? But I feel like most people feel like, okay, we've survived this long with high interest rates. I guess like nothing totally broke. A couple banks failed, but no one cares about those banks. JP Morgan didn't fail. It's all good.
Yeah, totally, dude. I keep seeing people talking about layoffs, and a couple people I know that got laid off, and I'm just like, oop,
But it's
hopefully.
it seems like soft and a little more like rolling layoffs. It's less of like the whole industry is doing it at once. So I mean, unemployment is still super low. So I feel like people are still able to like get new jobs. It's just, I mean, even Shopify had pretty significant layoffs earlier this year. I think at least two rounds of them, um, and I think that was more kind of like I was gonna say like trimming the fat, but that's kind of like disrespectful to the people that got laid off.
Yeah.
Um, but just cut like I think a lot of companies grew it in anticipation of continued growth, like the COVID boom, especially in e-commerce. And then when it kind of returned to the norm, they were like, okay, like we need to reset everything basically. But in general, I mean I think e-commerce has kind of reset itself and it's growing again. It's just people have. So I was talking to someone and they said like basically we tell everyone to try to create like a trend line and ignore the COVID years. Just slice right to that because you can't base any of your projections off of that basically an anomaly. Um,
Mm.
so
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a cool chart that showed that the e-commerce didn't return to the any it didn't like come back down. It just kept going up after COVID and
it's like
everything.
it had a definitely like a hump, and then it went back to normal, and then it's just keep going. I mean,
Yeah.
people people still like to shop online.
Yeah. I bought this thing. It's called a Bullen ball.
Going on.
It's like it attaches to your head. I haven't gotten it yet,
Mm-hmm.
or else I obviously would live demo it to break another meeting rule.
That's great.
It like it like attaches to your head from a bouncy string, from like an elastic string,
Uh,
and then you like punch it, and it tracks how many times you've punched
yeah,
it, so that you can keep score or whatever. And so it's like a coordination, reflex
that's cool. I
accuracy
think I've
type thing.
seen
Yeah.
Instagram ads for that thing. Seems, yeah,
Okay. It was weird because when my wife saw it and showed it to me, and there's all these like UFC fighters that were promoting it. I was like, how did I not see this?
yeah.
Because that's like all that the only thing I follow is UFC. But there was a bunch of the main UFC fighters that were demoing it, and it was pretty
Hmm.
cool. Because I'm trying to improve my reactions time and hand-eye coordination for pickleball. So I figured that would be a good
It's all about
thing to
pickleball.
do. It's all about pickleball. And there's also this thing that was, and it's like $20, but there's this other thing that there's these lights that light up, and they're called blaze pods,
Hmm.
and it's like $250 for four of them, and for six of them it's like $350, and they light up. So you can arrange them in different ways, and they show them how you use them for different sports. For like soccer, you can do with your feet, or you can. So I wanted to get that. I was like, nah, that's kind of a waste of money,
Seems like
and
a
it didn't pull the trigger on it.
Jedi mind trick training, like preparing for a pod. What is it? Pod racer. Your reflexes.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Right.
I
Totally.
got I got
Gotta
the
get those.
speaking of like purchases. I got these Ray-Ban Wayfarers, which have like the camera on them,
Oh, damn.
and they're
That's cool.
transitions. Like I don't need glasses, but they turn into sunglasses. Let me see if I can take a picture. So it like flashes when you like take a picture, or you can take a video. I think it
Dude.
continues to record. Live demos, it always fails. It's flashing like red in my eye.
Right.
There we go. Now it's recording the video. Um,
That's crazy.
it's been kind of cool. Like if you want to like take a video or a picture and just kind of stay in the moment, if you
Uh-huh.
feel a little uncomfortable about like whipping out your phone, uh,
Yeah.
and then the crazy thing is, and I didn't realize it, is they have like bone conducting speakers right here, which that
Oh,
you can use it as just basically AirPods, and no one knows that you're listening to anything. That it doesn't look like you're listening to anything. It has a microphone, so you can use it for phone calls and like look like a totally crazy person, where it's just like you're talking to the air, and people are like, he doesn't even have like AirPods on, like he's just talking to himself. So it's kind of
and is it good? Is the quality good?
the audio quality is great. The video quality is pretty good. I think it's either 12 or 24 megapixels, but
Uh-huh.
it's like passable. The older versions of this, I think, only had like 3 or 4 megapixel camera, and that was the main complaint. But it's not bad.
But the audio quality's good.
It's very cool.
That's kind of
Yeah, I
surprising.
didn't even really get it for that. I mean, I got it because it was like a gadget, but now that's my
Yeah.
favorite thing to do. Just if I'm like even going to a bar and like having a drink alone, I'm like I want to listen to a podcast, but like not look like a loser listening to a podcast.
Totally. Totally. That's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Dude, so what's the deal with this performance app scam deal? Because I
Oh,
looked at the tweet.
yes.
I briefly looked
So
at
there's
it
been kind
and
of
I
a
didn't quite.
trend over the past maybe year because Shopify introduced a little like lighthouse score thing in the Shopify theme editor. So you would go to like
Mm-hmm.
online store, you see all your themes, and then Shopify tells you
Mm-hmm.
your lighthouse score. And so suddenly
Mm-hmm.
merchants were like, and I think Shopify was emailing them sometimes too of like, oh, your theme is only scoring 10 out of 100. Like obviously everyone feels like performance equals more money, conversion rate, and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
that got a lot of people kind of like tuned in to what Lighthouse is, which is Google's like dev tools of like a quick way to test websites. Um, and
Yep.
so on the backs of that, couple apps and just tools came into the ecosystem improving those Lighthouse scores. But
Mm-hmm.
what a couple of agencies have realized is that um, the way they're improving it, a lot of different ways, but a lot of kind of shady ways where one, they were detecting whenever you would run a Lighthouse test. So like
Mm-hmm.
Lighthouse puts it in the user agent. So
Mm-hmm.
suddenly their tool would change things on the website just for the test. So like
Okay,
kind
I
of the
gotcha.
VW emission scandal kind of thing of like it detects when it's being tested, so it gives better results, but then that defeats the whole purpose. Um,
Right. Right.
that was a big thing, and then I think a couple of them would like strip out scripts and that kind of thing, but again, mostly just for the test and
Oh.
and the like Googlebot. And so there were some claims around like, oh, Google thinks that your site's faster because we're detecting when it's crawling the site, and then it's
Mm-hmm.
it's been able to crawl it faster. Um, but the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
like Google recently changed to their core web vitals way of like measuring speed.
Ah.
Are you familiar with core
Mm-hmm.
web vitals? And so part of that is they actually just take it like a 28-day average of real world like user data of how
Mm-hmm.
fast the page loaded, if things shift around, all those metrics. And so the
Mm-hmm.
reality is that if you improve this like one time lighthouse score or even how fast the site looks to the Googlebot, it doesn't it doesn't it doesn't change like your SEO rankings. Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
gonna make your true core web vitals go up. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so on the one hand, it's like it's faking out the test, and on the other hand, Google actually says that that can be considered what's called cloaking, which is
Mm-hmm.
intentionally trying to fake out Google. And if
Mm-hmm.
Google detects that you're trying to do any funny business like that, then they can penalize you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so all these apps are claiming to make your site faster and better, and in reality, you're actually at a pretty big risk to be slower and penalized for it. Um, and these apps like there's two I know of off the top of my head. I think one's called Fudge and another one's called Nostra. Um, they they've been claiming this for a while, but like basically they're very expensive, like $300-$600 a month. It's not like this little like $20 app that you install. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so a couple agencies have kind of been doing some more detailed digging. I think there might be like a blog post published later today or tomorrow with some more information about Nostra specifically. Um,
Oh, okay.
but it's definitely something to kind of keep your eye on. Yeah,
Gotcha. That's funny. So it's the apps or the themes or both that are doing this.
it's the apps. So the themes
Oh,
are
okay.
being measured by Shopify. Actually, Shopify announced that they're switching to like publishing your real core web vitals score instead of your lighthouse score. Um,
Oh, okay.
But basically, they were being measured kind of like the lazy way before, and that made everyone
Hmm.
think that their themes were slow. And then these apps came in to say, "Or we're going to speed up your theme. We're going to speed up your whole site, um, using our
Gotcha.
fancy, secret sauce technology." And
Gotcha. That's
and the thing
interesting.
is, like when a merchant tests it, like just in their browser, clicks like Google Lighthouse score, it does increase that.
Hmm.
That's because
Yeah.
it's detecting, oh, you're testing me, and I'm gonna like turn off a bunch of stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
like a lot of merchants have been like, oh man, it's amazing. Like it's improved my Lighthouse score. I was like 10, I was poor, and now I'm 99. And and it's also kind of a little too good to be true, um, because like developers know how hard it is to like really get good scores and those kind of things, and so the reality is like
Yeah.
it's not going to be like a turnkey solution to suddenly get you to 100.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
So
people should be on the lookout.
yeah,
And I saw Jake Casto had tweeted about that. He's a good dude.
he's
I've been chatting with him a bit.
yeah, he's been kind of leading the charge and looking into a lot of these things. I think Jake and Lucas, uh, what's his name? Lucas
I gotta follow that dude.
Tanusiak, something. Yeah. So
Yeah, I gotta follow that guy
he's
too.
from the Nice agency, and Jake is from the Proton agency.
That was some nice cyber sleuthing by them.
Yes, for sure.
Um,
Yeah.
that's cool. Um, I was speaking of apps, I wish there was like a list or a newsletter or so, like of like interesting apps kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing because like um well, I mean we have like my company has a new weekly newsletter,
Oh.
but it's just sort of a huge list of like all the all the new apps. So it's like it's kind of like it's kind of overkill. But so like yeah, on one extreme you have that, and then the other extreme you have like the like seven apps that everybody talks about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like something in the middle,
Yeah.
like where you can see, you know what I mean, like one interesting app per week or something like that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll run into one and I'll be like, oh, that's a cool app. Like I didn't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, but yeah, I'd love to see something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Like maybe almost a product hunt for specifically Shopify apps. But the problem with product hunt is it's a little overwhelming. But whenever I do visit it, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many cool things, and especially with all the AI
yeah,
stuff now, it's like so many things to try.
yeah, yeah. I haven't looked at Product Hunt too much because I get overwhelmed. It's like too
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Um, I bet they have a Shopify apps. Now that I think about it,
Probably.
they probably have a Shopify. Maybe that's the place to go for this. The best Shopify apps in 2023.
Hmm.
I don't
They
know.
don't
I
have.
don't know if I buy this list.
Should have like a tagging or like more of a categorization. Because if you search,
I saw one today. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say if you search for Shopify, it just like comes up with Shopify and product hunt. It's like,
Gosh, that's funny. Yeah, I saw one today that does auto collection
mm,
suggestions based on your catalog, which was something I had played around with a little bit with GPT, but I didn't really get great
mm-hmm.
results. But this one dude, I think his name is Cam. I think his name is Cameron. Did one. I think it's called Instant Collections or something like that. It looks pretty good. Um, that was kind of cool. Oh yeah, Cameron Smith. Um, but anyways, yeah, it's be cool to see a list of the apps.
Mm-hmm.
We can get that going. We should probably do an app of the week
Ooh,
type of thing,
yeah.
or an app of the every 7 weeks.
Every 7 weeks, yeah. That's our cadence. It was the holidays, you know.
No, no, yeah, absolutely.
And you weren't posting on Twitter, so it was like, what do we talk about? I wasn't posting on Twitter. Like, what do we talk about?
I don't know. What do we even do
Are you
here?
moving around? There's like
Um,
some weird noises. Are you fidgeting?
oh, uh,
I
I didn't think I
okay.
was.
Maybe the desk was shaking or something. There was like a boom, boom, boom.
Oh, is it?
I don't know.
Nope.
It's okay now.
It's better
Yeah,
now. Dang it.
no, it's okay.
All right. Sorry about that.
It didn't bother me. It just
Moving around.
the recording for
Oh,
the
okay.
listeners, the viewers.
I'll check that out.
Um, yeah, it would be cool to do a app of the week. Would you maybe both of us should present an app of like our favorite app of the week and
Yes.
talk about it?
Yes, we should plan on that.
Okay.
It's a great idea. It's a great idea. Um, this uh, this this other this other idea I saw somebody post about, which could become an app of the
Yeah.
week if somebody builds it. Oh, I was
Segways.
going to ask you if you've seen this before. Yeah, segues.
Mm.
I was going to ask you if you've seen this kind of thing before because I saw somebody ask about this in the partner Slack, and where the idea was to have a post purchase um, flow to let somebody upgrade from a regular order to a subscription. So they buy they buy something, and then in the thank you
Yeah.
screen, instead of like an upsell to another product, you say, hey, would you want to turn this into a subscription kind of deal? Have you ever seen that before or had anybody ask
I
for it?
haven't. I mean, that's a good idea. I'm curious.
It's a good idea,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Do it. I mean, no. I feel like something like Rebuy should have it, and they're pretty integrated with Recharge. Um, I'll have
Mm.
to look into that. If it's not already in existence, it might be like an API limitation because with like a single click order, it's just a normal transaction, and then you do a subscription. It's like a tokenization that they're all charging you over and over. So I'm curious. I'm curious if that like it's a different kind of like payment, and so they wouldn't be able to flip it that way. But
Um,
I know you could do the other way around. If you have like a subscription order, you can add like one-time things.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That would make sense actually, because it feels like this type of thing would exist if there wasn't some limitation. And the other potential limitation would be that you'd have to like discount the original order
yeah.
probably, or something like that. Which I don't know if that's not sure if that's possible.
Hmm.
It's interesting, like just the whole surface area of Shopify, the API, the product suite, the different product suites, like how like nobody knows everything about everything.
Yeah.
You know, there's just like there's like another thing I asked about recently was some kind of a way to troubleshoot like some kind of a way to have a log of all API activity
Hmm.
and and then like several people were like, "Oh no, you can't do that." And then this one guy replied, and there's like this audit. There's like this API audit. What's it called? You can audit API events. It's actually a webhook that you subscribe to, and it's like plus only.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, I knew this thing had to exist,
Hmm.
and like nobody knew about it except for this one dude. And then I was like, okay, cool. You know, it like resolved that for me. But it's just it's interesting how because it's not like with an open source thing where like if you say can you do this, the answer is
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
A lot of times the answer is there some hard limitation of the API around that, and then there's just a million things that could exist or not exist,
That's
in a change log
That's an
somewhere.
interesting kind of paradigm shift, coming from open source projects and things like Magento, where you're used to saying to the client, like, if they want something, like, oh yeah, we can do it. It's just a matter of like how much are you willing to pay, how many
Hmm.
hours. But with like software as a service, something like a Shopify, you have to really check yourself of like, is this even possible? Like, Um, and I think that was the issue too, a couple years ago in Shopify is a lot of things weren't possible and a lot of merchants were not as happy and some of them like turned to headless to make things like more possible that the normal platform didn't allow for. But I think in the past couple of years, they've opened up the platform so much more and they've added so many more features. I feel like we're having to say like, no, we can't do this on Shopify, like less and less. And that's been
Mm.
exciting of being able to kind of
Mhm.
create those custom experiences on Shopify, but not having to go
Mhm.
through the bulk of like a big Magento project.
Yeah, yeah. I keep thinking it would be interesting to have like a contest to see who knows the most about Shopify because
Okay.
there's so between like AP different API endpoints, GraphQL stuff
Yeah.
versus REST, and there's like all the different product suites. Like I learned about Shopify Balance the other
Mm-hmm.
day for the first time, which is their bank account. They give you a bank, you can get your own bank
Yeah.
account. Like, I thought it'd be cool if there was a contest to see like who knows the most.
Maybe we should,
Is that
maybe we
crazy?
should host it. Like pick a couple of random Shopify, not well, like developers or some people from the community,
Yeah.
and prepare like a quiz, like a trivia quiz. But they have to answer it like
Hell yeah.
on here because otherwise, like you can just Google it,
Yeah.
and they have
Gotta
to
do it
have their
live.
hands in the air so they're not like secretly
Right.
Googling.
Right. And no magic glasses on or
Yeah,
anything like that.
exactly.
Like I was looking into this inventory. My inventory was resetting on me, and that was what was making me think like, okay, let me just see a log of all the inbound API stuff, and you couldn't do that. But there's an inventory adjustment
Mm.
history right in the back end, and then like Gil, I posted that, and then Gil Greenberg replied, and he said he didn't even know about that,
Wow.
and I was like, what? That's crazy. But obviously, he's focused on his side of
Yeah.
the universe, which is checkout stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out to Checkout Blocks. That website, dude, that he launched for Checkout Blocks is just
Oh
absurdly
yeah.
good. Did you see it? It's too
Yeah.
good. It hurts.
And it's really cool too. I mean, so the new Shopify checkout, you can't like customize it the way that you used to, but it basically requires an app like Checkout Blocks, and there's a couple other similar ones to reintegrate the customizations that you had in the checkout. But now it's done
Mm,
cleaner and smoother, and it's been a transition, and some of our clients or a lot of our
mm,
clients were still on the old checkout because it's a big
mm,
switch. But I think once they like
mm.
fully release the features that they planned for it, it'll be a nice way to be able to customize the checkout safely.
Yeah, there's still a lot of people running in wanting to use the scripts, the the custom scripts in checkout, and then that's what's getting phased out, right?
Yep. Yeah, and the checkout
Yeah.
dot liquid. Yeah.
Right.
Uh, a funny thing, the contest that you mentioned, the Shopify has some new certifications. I think they have two, like a general Shopify like merchant solution certification and a developer one. Um,
Okay.
and the funny thing is they're proctored. So John on our team did the certification, but like when you go to take the
Hmm.
test, you have to get on camera and someone's like watching you in the webcam and like they're watching your screen
Nice.
to make sure you're not Googling the answers. It's like, I was like, wow, this is like, I mean, did you do any of the Magento certifications? They were the same way actually.
Yeah.
They were hard. Like it's
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah. I was pretty nervous at the time, I remember. I just did the one certification, but um
I,
yeah, that's cool. Maybe I should check those out.
Yeah. At least you can be
But
proctored on your computer now. I remember I had to go to some shady strip mall to like go into a corner to take my Magento certification.
yeah. Yeah. So you just do it from
Hmm.
home?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just have
okay.
to have your webcam
That's
on,
cool.
and I think they use some sort of software that like you share your screen so that you're not Googling the answers.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, dude, so many things in the Shopify world to know. Oh, another one I ran into recently was somebody was asking about having order, order numbers or serial, they're standard order numbers. So somebody can see, so a competitor can see how many orders you're getting, right? And they wanted it to be like a randomized number. So I was trying to figure out if that was possible. Have you ever had anybody ask you to do about that?
Not a randomized,
Like a
but you can change like the formatting and like when it starts. I feel like
right.
randomized would be a little inconvenient, but you could like randomly insert and like increase that number by like 1,000 or something. Uh, it's some predictable way for you as a merchant, but like if from the outside, you're like, oh my gosh, they're doing great.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was one direction I was trying to figure out is if over the API is if you could change the prefix or the starting
Hmm.
number. You can change the prefix, the suffix, and the starting number or something like
Yeah,
that. But you can't change those over the API.
yeah.
Um,
It's like
but there is the order confirmation number, which is a randomized alphanumeric, which they actually use that. I think they generate that before the order is created. I think that's the reason
mhm.
for it. It's like a hash that's generated before the order is created or something, and then it can map to it. But I was thinking I think you could replace the order number with the order confirmation number everywhere,
Okay.
but I don't know exactly like if you could change it in all the confirmation emails and stuff like that. But that was just some random thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna win this contest, Mark.
Okay.
I'm gonna win this damn
Okay, so
contest.
you're gonna enter. So maybe I have to write the questions, and it's Kalen versus Blank Lob and Lucas and Jake
Hell
and
yeah,
and
taking Blank Lob
and
down,
Gil. Yeah,
taking him down. Um,
I'm gonna ask you about all the
no,
webhooks. It's like, what does the ID variable start
but
with in this webhook?
yeah, but actually, like then the theming side of things is a whole other side of
Yeah.
things that I'd never deal with.
Okay, so
That's arguably a much bigger, a much more important piece of the
so
puzzle.
do we have to like narrow it down for you, just like so you can be better? Like, do I have to give you the answers before so you can sound smarter?
Wow. I might need a little help because I think the contest. I don't want it segmented front end, back end, blah blah, store
Yeah.
admin versus dev. None of that. I want to know who is the one person that knows the most.
Yeah.
Period. That's all I care about.
Interesting.
You
So
know.
then like
That's what we need to know.
you have to make it broad. It's kind of like trivia. There can be different like topics, but you have to know a little trivia in every
100%.
bucket.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we need to do. Here's another one. Here's another one. Storefront cache clearing. I didn't even realize initially that there was a storefront cache. And I was like, okay, well, obviously there's a storefront cache.
Mm.
But have you ever run into issues where something was being cached on the front end and it was like I saw a thing on the forums where they had I think they had flash sales or something like that, and they had products that were going to be
Hmm.
pre-order or not, depending on a liquid variable date, which is I guess the store date
Yeah.
or something like that. And they were running into issues because the pages being cached, and there's no way to programmatically clear the cache. It clears if you save the product in the admin manually, but there's no way other than that to clear the
That's
cache.
interesting. Um, I've
Yeah.
seen that fair like sometimes, but it's very, very infrequent. Ironically,
Okay.
the when I normally see it is when merchants are using some of these weird apps like Nostra. Actually it's been a problem for merchants where they have like a separate cache, and then you have to like clear Cloudflare or something like
Okay.
that. Um, but
Gotcha.
the Shopify like front end cache, it actually I think kind of clears out too much. Like everything clears it out. It's like one inventory
Really.
change. Like if someone orders something and the inventory changes once, and then like they clear the whole product cache,
Mm.
the whole collection cache. So
Hmm.
I mean, maybe in that situation they were using some sort of external front end caching, and that
Mm.
was the thing that was keeping it in cache.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking if it was that type of thing, you could just write some JavaScript to check the date
Hmm.
and then enable the button or something like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
um,
It's pretty infrequent when those kind of things come up, because yeah, I wish they would keep pages in cache more or have like a cache warmer. Um, but at least they've gotten pretty good about like the overall performance is pretty good, just even like uncached pages. Shopify.
yeah, I mean, it's funny because I was thinking like, oh, well, there, like, wow, how could there not be an API method to clear the cache? And then I'm thinking, well, dude, they're managing like all these stores at
Yeah.
scale, you know, and you don't want that. You want to have control of the cache, you know, if you're Shopify. You don't want people fucking busting the cache left and right
Yeah.
whenever they want to, because then you know they write a cron. Somebody's writing cron jobs to clear the cache every
Yeah.
minute, you know.
I used to I had a cron job on one client's site because their collections page was so slow because they had like a million products and a million variants. And sometimes the collection pages would take like 30 seconds to load. So I created a cron job to like hit those pages like once a minute to try to like keep them in some sort of cache. Um,
To warm the cache,
yeah,
basically.
yeah. It kind of worked, but I
Nice.
think their cache is like distributed because of Cloudflare. So it would really only warm it in like one region, and it wouldn't really warm it for everyone. So it's like, yeah, ended up having to like rewrite that site so that it didn't use Liquid at all for the variants. It like queried the API, and then we cached the API manually in Cloudflare. That was an interesting.
It's so crazy all the different like things people do to you know what I mean? To get something
Yeah.
working. Like there's this guy in the forums that sells like rugs, like one of a kind
Hmm.
rugs, and he wants to you purchase something from a collection, like a white
Hmm.
rug, and then what he wants to do is grab another SKU. There's because each one's one of a kind, so there's going to be 300. There's going to be like I don't know however many white rugs in the collection, and then just pick one of those particular SKUs and add that to the order or something. And I'm just like, wait. I'm like, wait, why? Why? You know, but there's so many crazy configurations. For some
Yeah.
one reason or another, it made sense to do it. You know.
There's so many edge cases, and I feel like developers are,
Yeah.
are getting better at like, I wouldn't say like exploiting Shopify, but like just using Shopify regardless of what the requirements are, and finding workarounds. Um, One
Mm-hmm.
of our clients sells like print on demand wall murals, and they were on
Mm-hmm.
Magento forever. Um, and the print on demand thing works where they have this like connection to the Adobe's API. So if you search on their site, it actually uses Adobe's like stock photo API. And then
Mm-hmm.
when you click on the product, it's still like actually not a product in Shopify. It's only once you click add to cart that we had to create like an API connection where in the backend or in the API, it creates a product in Shopify really quickly and then adds it to your cart. And
That's
then it's a real
crazy.
product. And it's like, it wasn't that kind of thing like wouldn't be possible without a lot of development, but it is possible with APIs.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. I think it's cool. I think it's cool all the different it almost enable like you would think maybe there's less creativity in a closed SaaS platform versus open source,
Mhm.
but in a way there's almost more creativity
Yeah, like
with how you do things.
boundaries and kind of guardrails actually, I think, force you to be more creative. Sometimes when you have just like a totally open
Yeah.
field of you can do everything, it's like it's a little paralyzing. So once you know, like, all right, these are the rules that I have to play by, and you figure
Mm-hmm.
out ways to
Mm-hmm.
work in within those rules.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 something like that. So wait, so was this a front end JavaScript call that was listening to the add to the cart and then
Mm-hmm.
hitting an API call to create the product and
Yep.
then
Yeah. And we had to create some like middleware where, obviously you can't directly
crazy.
access the admin API from the front end. So in the background, it does some call to another server, and this server creates it in
Yeah.
Shopify. Yeah.
Right. Right, 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 right. Could have used Mesa for that.
Maybe.
Jeez. Jeez.
I'll,
This podcast is brought to you
yeah.
by um, that's cool. Dude, so this other thing that absolutely drives me crazy is the get orders rest call. I can look at GraphQL because I'm assuming GraphQL might have a more sane way of doing this.
Hmm.
But when you grab orders, if you don't pass status equals any, it only gets you open orders.
Really? It's interesting. It's like a
Yeah,
default.
which like
Hmm.
that's the
It's weird.
default. Which like part of me understands like okay, I get it. They're open, so you only want the open orders. So but you want a closed order? Just give me the open
Right.
orders. But like I was doing a workflow that they wanted to grab the orders the customer had made, and then if they've spent some total amount or something like
Hmm.
that, then do something based on that. So I'm building the workflow, grab the customer, grab their orders, da da da, and then it was like not returning me all the orders. Oh, actually, I do know how GraphQL does it because GraphQL did get because I was like, okay, the REST API is broken. So I was like, I'm not because it was like randomly. Sometimes it was empty. Sometimes the order list was empty.
Uh,
Sometimes it had two orders instead of 18. I was like, what the
yeah.
hell? So then I rebuilt it in GraphQL. I was like, okay, this is working. And then and then I realized it was the status equals anything, and it's just like it's it's to me that's a crazy default.
You're really you're really
So
getting into the weeds with Shopify development now. I mean,
I'm getting into the weeds,
yeah.
man. I'm getting in, dude. Yeah, it's taking me some time, but
It's
yeah, it's kind of cool because I feel like I don't. I feel like if I'm not in the weeds, then I don't. I can't like make sense of the
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
you know. Like I have to be, like I try to do like one workflow every day, kind of a thing, and do a blog post for it and stuff, and a video, and then at one point I was like, these aren't like I don't like I'm not getting any views on these damn videos. It's like I should just do something
Yeah.
else. So then I was like spending my time differently. But then I realized like no, I have to do this because it helps me like I have to. I got to get into the weeds. So I think that's working out for
There
me.
is so much now though, like to the point of the trivia quiz. It's a little overwhelming. Like it is like
Yeah.
a I don't know, you can't so much be like a full stack developer anymore in Shopify because if you want to do app stuff, then like it's more like React and there's special SDKs for app stuff. If you want to do theme stuff, it's Liquid. So it's really hard to be
Mhm.
like a master of everything. So you really kind
Yeah.
of now have to specialize. Are you a front end Shopify developer or a back end slash app developer?
Yeah. I guess
I think
so.
you're more back end right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Pretty much all back end. Um, but and even then, I mean, there's so much in the API. It's
Yeah,
like it's crazy.
I think I think
Um,
partners. like Mesa, you tend to work more on the back end side, and agencies are very much on the front end because like a lot of what we
Right.
do to change our client's site is making modifications to the theme. Um, the
Yeah.
theme isn't just like a template theme. It's kind of the engine on the front end that runs the whole website. So especially
Hmm.
before there's more API stuff, API access, the theme was basically all you
Hmm.
had control of. Is you did everything in the
Mm.
theme.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'll see people posting about like they'll say, "Well, this is something you can do in the theme, and you don't need to do an app for."
Yeah,
I can't think of a good example, but and then from my perspective, that's like, well, that's not my world at all. If you can do it in the theme,
yeah,
it's like, but I can totally see how you'd want to do as much as possible in the
yep.
theme, you know. So then that's like a totally different frame on on how you're approaching a problem, how you're trying to solve any given problem.
The problem though is if you do too much in the theme, whenever you like redesign your site or switch theme, then you lose a lot of that logic. So there is I don't know, definitely pros and cons to what you do theme versus an app. And at least theme
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like a one-time change. You don't have to pay an app for things. So
Yes.
there is that choice of like, oh, I'm just inserting a homepage banner or just a sale banner on every product. It's like, okay, like maybe let's just do that in the
Yeah.
theme. I'm sure there's apps for that, but not
Yeah.
sure that justifies it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I did this one thing where somebody wanted to show a list of reviews. They wanted like a little screen to put in their warehouse to show reviews to the warehouse
Yeah,
team to see those. And I was like, oh, cool! I could whip this together, and we have like a thing that grab the reviews and then display them in a web request. And then I did that. I sent it over, and I was like, cool. They liked it. They were using it. And then I was like, wait a second. And because the API call to get the reviews was actually just a public API because most of the reviews apps, the reviews data is mostly
yeah,
public APIs. And so then I was like, after all that, setting all that up, I was like, shit, they could take this code and just drop it onto a theme page. That would really be the better way to do it. A little bit of JavaScript that grabs the reviews, picks one, and displays
yeah.
it. Like I was like, it doesn't make sense to do this. I mean, it's not. It's better to do the theme. You're not paying a monthly app. And I told them. I actually told them. I was like, hey, you can probably just do this in your theme page. But they didn't end up like caring or
Yeah,
whatever. And then we're trying to find some other workflows to do for them.
sure.
But
Yeah,
and that's another thing that happens is that like there's a million ways to do any given thing. Like as a merchant, I think it's like they have so many different
yeah.
options and they find one for whatever reason it works and then they do it. It's like cool. Like yeah, they could save a few bucks by doing it this way, but they're not going to really spend the time to think about that. They're just like they have something, they have an option that works, you
And
know.
sometimes you want to customize it
Um,
anyway for each merchant. So it's like, well, might as well just do it custom per merchant as opposed to sometimes we have thoughts of like, oh, maybe we should turn these things into an app, as an agency. But then we're like, well,
yeah,
I we could, but it's still going to be kind of like a case by case scenario. So why would we go through the hassle of like the app store? Might as well, code it custom. And sometimes we can
yeah,
use the code like multiple times on multiple clients. Um, but it
yeah.
doesn't get quite to the level of like, oh, maybe let's publish an app in the app store.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's the constant temptation for
Yeah,
agencies is to build an app. It doesn't usually work out so
it's
well. Have you oh sorry,
no, I
go
was
ahead.
just say it seems like so much work, like the approval process and the
Yeah.
maintenance process and like support process. I mean, I'm sure you know.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot. There's a lot of crazies out there. It's a lot of crazy. sometimes I'll be looking at as I'll go through support tickets to find like use cases for
Oh,
demos and
nice.
stuff, and sometimes I'll see a support ticket, and I'm just like, wow,
Okay, I'm glad I'm
just
not on
like
the support team.
it's just like wow. but, um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
And they're
it's
like, I pay you $10 a month. I demand an answer.
yeah. Yeah, we did this thing with our pricing. So on the low end, it's like $30 a month, and then the middle tier is like 90 a month. And the way we did it is what we introduced is that like there's a maximum of like 5 workflow steps or four or something like that in the lowest tier. And then there's also based on number of automation runs and stuff like that. But and I think the idea behind that was to sort of as a proxy for complexity and support level and stuff
Yep.
like that. But it's kind of and every app developer has to make these decisions of how to bucket their pricing and
Yep.
stuff like that. But it's kind of killing me because most of the workflows I build are more than like 5 steps. And so then somebody wants to use them. It's like automatically you're like $96 a month. It's
Yeah.
like you want to have something which does weed out this the crazies a little
Yeah.
bit, but it's a art.
Do you have any kind of like trial that has like you can do unlimited steps so that you get like a taste of it and then you're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's a trial, 14 days or something.
Yeah.
Might even be. Yeah. So that's always
Yeah.
interesting. Um. Okay. How can we get this is my next
Uh-oh.
rant. How can we get merchants to care about their bad meta descriptions? Because every single one, because this is one of my AI use
Mm-hmm.
cases, is you rewrite the meta description with AI. You do a pretty decent job of
Mm-hmm.
it, because you can feed in the product data and stuff, generate a nice little 170 character meta description. But every site that I look at, the meta description like is too long, or well, too long mostly because they'll just throw the whole description, or they'll take the product description and truncate it.
Right.
Um, but I've tried to reach out to a few people, but nobody
Do,
cares. I guess they just have too many
I mean, does
things on their plate.
does Google care about meta descriptions anymore? Do they use it?
I believe they
Okay.
do. I believe they
So
do. I looked because I looked
so
that
it's
up.
it's still
I
important.
looked that up.
I should know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's still
John's gonna like listen to this podcast and be like, idiot, like you didn't know that?
uh wait,
Yeah.
meta does Google still are meta descriptions a Google does not use the meta description as a search ranking signal. What?
So
What are you
I
talking
don't
about?
think they use it for rankings, but they might use it from like for like summaries and other reasons. So like don't stuff your meta descriptions with like keywords. It's not gonna like make you rank
Right.
higher. Um,
Right. And a lot of the time they do auto generate a snippet based on other content on the
yep.
page as far as the snippet that shows up. This is so weird because I swear the last time I googled this, it was like the top 3 results all said like yes, Google still
Hmm.
cares. And now as I'm searching it, it's like all the results are saying Google doesn't care about the meta description anymore.
I think the nuance
So
is
I
like
don't
they just don't use it in the ranking. But
in the
yeah,
rankings. Okay.
sometimes they use it in the results or sometimes they ignore it. Like I think they have a signal of like whether it's a good description or not. And if their AI doesn't feel like it's a good description, they just ignore it and they pick up something else in the page.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So your use case,
I
are you
think,
trying to
yeah,
generate better descriptions for the meta description or do something? Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. We could do a much
Yeah.
better meta because like most of the time if you just drop the product description in there, it's like, it's a longer product description. So the first sentence is just some random
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, so you can like chat GPT generate a keyword optimized,
Hmm.
you know, and you can even say like include like buy now or include shop now at the end or different things like
I
that.
guess the
Um,
key is that you don't need it keyword optimized for like rankings, but you would want it keyword optimized for trying to get people to click through because it has a
right,
potential to be in the Google search results. Um, but
right,
I could see a use case for that, like automatically generating a bunch of them, and then maybe even the merchant can like approve them or like tweak them. But if you have a lot of
yeah.
products, it's a little intimidating and annoying to be like, oh yeah, now I have to write this other custom, just description with all these limitations. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You put like one weird trick to something something something. That'll
yeah,
that'll that'll
yeah.
boost.
You could ask ChatGPT to, generate meta descriptions to sell more things, like
Yeah,
with the intent.
yeah, yeah. Well, and the thing is, I actually think, and I believe Sam Altman said this at one point that like it's well, I can't remember how he phrased it, but I think he said something to the effect that most of the GPT use cases were like expanding on
Yeah,
content. Write me a blog post for da, 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 and make it longer. And he was like, something to the effect of, "I'm surprised they should be doing the opposite, is to make the content shorter." And I think that in general, it's better at summarizing, condensing content than generating content. So that's one of the reasons why I think this is an exciting opportunity for all of our merchants at home
yes, yeah.
that are listening.
And Mesa can
Okay.
provide this opportunity for you. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
But I think more broadly, it's always hard to get merchants to care about one particular, you know, it's a small thing. Like it's a small part of their
Yeah.
site.
Yeah.
They're worried about their ads and their
I,
like
I think you have to
top line
explain
revenue.
and justify it because it doesn't play into rankings. You have to explain the
Yeah.
nuance of like this could be the description in the search results, and then if you're creating a Google ad, like obviously you care about the title a lot, and you care about the description that
Right.
comes under that ad. So why wouldn't you care about what comes up in the organic search results?
Have you had any good app ideas lately? You mentioned you sometimes get
Oh
ideas.
man, I don't know. No, not really.
Nothing comes to mind. Yeah.
Um, I do actually. It's not my idea, but one of my friends created this app called Cleo, where it's a Chrome
Mm.
extension that automatically offers you gift cards, like at checkout for certain brands.
Mhm.
And so, like for example, if
Mhm.
you're on like the Skims website, I think they have Skims gift cards, and you're spending $25, they'll be like, hey, you can buy a $25 gift card for $20 and just save $5. So that was
Mhm.
I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Yeah.
It's like a $5 discount. It's
Yeah.
like a variation on a discount. It's pretty
And
cool.
you're not getting the gift card from the retailer directly. It's like pulling from this reseller marketplace of gift cards. So someone listed their gift card, and I don't know what they use for the sourcing of the gift cards, um, but someone like sells it at a discount for themselves, because they would prefer to have cash than rather than a gift card, and so then you get a discount
Mm.
because of that.
Oh, so you're checking out on Skims. You get a gift card for another site.
No, like you get a gift card for Skims immediately in the background,
Uh,
but someone else, they're getting the gift cards from like an external source. And so someone else is selling their gift card at a discount, and that's why you can get a $25 gift card for $20. I mean, there's marketplaces for gift cards anyway, but it's a Chrome
Right.
extension that basically make that seamless.
That's crazy. That's
Hmm.
interesting.
So try the extension. I can't remember all the stores that they offer so far, but it popped up on my computer the other day. I was like, oh, I can get a little discount using this this gift card thing.
How do you spell it? Cleo.
Cleo,
K L E or no
I
C
think.
H C H.
Yeah,
Oh, Cleo. C L
yeah,
E O. Cleo Cards.
CleoCards.com.
Whoa, this is a crazy website. Are you seeing this? Chromestats.com.
Chrome set.
What the heck? Oh, I'm on some Chrome Stats website that has a bunch of crazy
Oh,
ads on it.
it's Clio cards.
It's like crazy, like GeoCities looking ads and stuff. Okay, there we go. Okay, now I'm on the regular page. Cool. All right, nice,
Yeah,
man. Good stuff.
yeah. Well, we'll have to
Cool.
prepare for our apps of the week next 7 weeks.
Yes, yes. Keep a lookout for that. Apps of the week, and then the best Shopify person. The better find a good word for
Yeah,
that.
Shopify trivia. Who wants to be a Shopify millionaire?